Hey guys, Thunderstruck MTB here. Today we are going to talk about a couple of tools. Each of them are going to be on one side of the spectrum than the other. Meaning one tool is a kind of a knockoff budget tool, much cheaper than the park alternative. And the other tool that does something different, but it is extremely expensive, the most expensive tool that I've seen for what it does, and smokes the park equivalent. So before we start, we'll start with the cheap guy first. Before we start, I think it's important you know what side of the spectrum I typically lie on. I'm a big buy once, cry once type guy when it comes to tools. Typically, the only time I'll look for like a cheap tool at Harbor Freight or something like that is if I'm doing something that's a one-off, not very important, I'm only gonna do it one time, something like that, and I'll go that route. So I think it's important you know that, so you know which side I kind of lean towards. So with that being said, here we go. So the first tool we're going to talk about, this cheap dude here, this is a, what is it? This is a Tupre. This is a Tupre MTB, well, bike, hydraulic, brake, hose, cutter, and barb setter. So right through there, that is razor sharp. That cuts the hose to whatever length you need, cuts it perfectly, 90 degrees like butter, razor sharp. Just snip and it's gone. In the middle part there, this is a already cut brake hose, and it's set in there. And this part there, the copper part with the red O-ring, that is the barb, and it gets pressed down there. You use this to hold this here lever, squishes and holds the hose. Then you drive in the barb into the hose. So you need that for this reason. In today's climate, most brakes ship with the lever pre-bled and then with fluid in it, pre-bled and a plug in the end, and the brake hose cut, pre-bled all the way to the caliper with a plug in it. And the reason for that is because most bike frames now are internally routed, and it's just much easier to push the hose through where it pops out with, you know, already sealed up and everything else. And then the hoses are always going to be way too long. Okay, like Magura, they don't even have a front brake. If you buy a Magura brake, the front brake is the same as the rear because they have a flip-flop design, and they just have a super long hose. So they just sell one part number for whatever brake you get, and it's going to have a gigantically long hose. So you're going to have to do that. So that's what you're going to need that for. And in the old days, it is true, old days, a couple years ago, Shimano used to include a couple of yellow little plastic dudes that would grab the hose here, and then you would hold on to those dudes with a channel locks or a vice grip, something along that line, and then you would start the barb in to the hose here. You'd start that little copper barb dude into the hose, and then you'd hold the hose with that tool, then you'd grab a hammer and you'd play whack-a-mole, and you would drive that barb in by hammering it like a caveman. And while I did it many times and you eventually get it in, what happens is, and nobody will talk about, I've never seen it talked about, well, up until now, is no matter how tight you hold the hose, you hit it, fluid will come out of the hose. And it doesn't, this hose isn't very big on the inside. It really isn't. And you would get fluid that would just come bobbing out and flopping. And if you look around by your feet, you're going to have, you know, several drops as you hammer that thing in, which means you now have air, maybe some fluid, air, whatever, and you're guaranteeing yourself a full system bleed. A lever purge isn't going to take care of having air back in here. It just won't. You're going to have to bleed that brake. And so this tool here completely saves it, and it is fantastic. I will leave a link in the description. Amazon is one of those tools, again, that has many different names, but they're all the same tool. I got it a couple years ago for cheaper, like 16 bucks my order said. Now they're $22. So this tool right now on Amazon is 22 bucks. The competing park tool that does the exact same thing is $109. This tool is every bit as good as a park tool, which I've used both. This tool is my favorite budget purchase sleeper that I've ever found. So if you work on your own brakes, if you're thinking about working on your own brakes, 22 bucks saved here, hour on YouTube. I'll put a link or two in the description on some of the better tutorials on how to connect lever in a new hose for a new brake. guys, we can do this. You can do it. It's not rocket science, I promise. If you can take the front wheel off, if you can change a tire, you can install a hose to a new brake with just a couple tools and watching some videos. That'll pay for itself in no time. So far and away, my favorite budget tool. That leads us to the other side of this spectrum where the crazy people like me reside, and that's that green tool down there. That is an Abbey Tools HAG, hanger alignment gauge. And that is on the crazier, expensive side of what it does. And it is far and away my favorite tool when it comes to, well, what it's designed for. What is it designed for? It's designed to check that the rear derailleur hanger, which, yeah, I know yesterday SRAM says we no longer need. They have a real cool new way to mount your derailleur. You can probably tell my sarcastic tone what I think about that. But anyway, both these tools here do the same thing. We'll talk about it in a minute. But what they do is this is your rear derailleur. It mounts to this rear derailleur hanger on the back, and it makes sure it's perfectly straight with the wheel in both the vertical and the horizontal plane. Why is that important? Well, if it's not, then your rear derailleur may be, kicked in, kicked out. If it's that, I'm exaggerating obviously, or it could be leaned in, leaned out like that. It's got to be perfectly straight with this cassette to get proper shifting. Usually when people complain that, hey, my derailleur, cable, electronic, doesn't matter, hey, it shifts fine at the top 3 gears and the bottom 3 gears, but in the middle it kind of goes, it makes ticking noises and grinds, and no matter what I do with the barrel adjuster or the trim, I can't get it out. 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to be the hanger is not aligned. So for years, I use this chrome one here. This is a Park DAG 2.2. And the problem with this tool here is as it screws in, and it screws, you take the derailleur off and it screws in. Again, I'll leave a Park tool how to do this link in the video. As it goes in, this tool has so much slop to where when it hangs down like this is real hard with one hand. When it hangs down like this, the tool actually can like move in and out. I'm exaggerating for effect, but it can move in and out like 3 millimeters. I mean, it's like trying to do surgery with a freaking butter knife or a, I don't know, chainsaw. This dude right here, the Abbey HAG, oh boy, if I could make that angel sound, I would. This thing has zero slop. If you were able to get your rear derailleur aligned with the chainsaw here, imagine what you can do with the scalpel. It just gets that thing to where I think Park says they want it like plus or minus like 2 millimeters or something, the gap. That's not even close to being what I'll get it at. Mine is dead nuts, straight in both planes, vertical and horizontal. And this tool here allows you to do it. Whew, that being said, boy, she is expensive. I bought this tool 2 years ago directly from Abbey. It was on, what is that called, Black Friday? Black Friday, and they had 15% off, free shipping and no tax. And it was, cheaper back then. I mean, hell, what wasn't cheaper back then, right? And I just looked at it before I made the video. It is now up to $205. I know most of you just hung up and buy. So those of you that are still here, $205. Yeah, it's crazy. The Park Tools new version, this should not exist, okay? So if you're thinking about buying one of these, I would just keep saving your money. You can get this right now, the 2.2. You can get this dude right now on Amazon for $84. And the new version of the Park tool is the DAG 3.0, and that's supposed to be a much better tool. That is now $128. If you're not going to pony up for the $205, I get it, guys. I do. I get it. If you're not going to pony up for the $205 for the Abbey HAG here, at least don't buy this turd right here. Just save your money. Just save your money until you can afford the 3.0 version, and go from there. What I highly recommend you stay away from is the alignment version of this tool, meaning the Amazon clones that you're going to see for 28 bucks, 35 bucks, 40 bucks, and they kind of even look like this. Guys, read the reviews. Just don't. On something as important as having your rear derailleur aligned properly, if you like smooth shifting and you hate raspy noises and all that, this is a tool to get. Again, it's one of those buy once, cry once type things. And that's sort of what this video is about. So this guy here, he's going to go up on eBay any day now, the HAG 2.2. It's been used, 30 times, but basically it's brand new over the years. This, again, the HAG is phenomenal, $205. Abbey, definitely buy it directly from Abbey because you won't pay tax, or at least I didn't pay tax in Southern California back then. I don't know if the rules have changed, and then, but also northwestbikes.com, link in the description. Don't got to pay tax on anything you ever buy from them, at least in California. So that's another option. Northwestern, it's either Northwestern or Northwest Bike, link in the description to buy whatever you're looking for, tires, saddles, whatever. They also sell the HAG as well, and sometimes they have coupons too, so check that out. We'll see what it is. But again, guys, gals, those are my two favorite tools on each side of the spectrum. Both of them do the job perfectly. Both are probably the best tool I've ever used for the specific job they do. And yet we got here entirely different. One is a cheap knockoff, dime a dozen. And the other one, you have to either sell your kidney or mortgage your future for. So again, there you go. I'd be curious in the comments. Have you guys found a rear derailleur hanger alignment gauge that you love that was much cheaper? Do you install your own brakes? Is that something you think you might try now that you see this and with some of the links I put in the description? Something you might do. Save some coin. Again, guys, gals, I can't encourage you enough to work on your own bike. What's the worst that's going to happen, right? Worst that's going to happen is you're not going to be able to do it. It won't feel right, and you end up taking it to the bike shop anyway, which is where you were going to take it. But that's the worst that's going to happen. You can do this, I promise. It just takes a little bit of not willpower, but a little bit of want, a little bit of YouTube watching, and find one of those good tutorials and go from there. So anyway, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any criticisms, if I'm crazy for buying the HAG, let me know. But there you go, guys. Hope you guys are all having a good day, and I'll see you later. See ya.